Oh my God, Claire, no. I've just fecking well snapped the main vein, no.
Hello everyone. I hope you are doing well today. I am in such a good mood today because the sun is shining and it is just beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. It feels like spring has finally arrived. The clocks have just changed here in the UK as well, so the days are longer. Our magnolia tree's in flower as well, which is so beautiful. And I don't know, everything just feels like it gets easier at this time of year, you know? So today I wanted to just kind of take you off the tripod and give you a bit of a walkthrough of everything. I've been doing a lot off camera these last few weeks to kind of rehab my plants because I've had a lot of rehabbing to do and start putting measures in place to make my life easier. And I have changed a lot. So yeah, I just kind of want to show you everything and chat through things with you and give you some updates as well, because there's some weird and wonderful things going on with my plants. I've also somehow acquired a few new plants as well. I will take you through those. But yeah, just kind of give you a bit of a sense of where I'm up to with everything, because I'm feeling currently pretty positive about things, I would say, and pretty excited. So yes, that is the plan. But first, if you're new here, hi, my name's Claire and this is Yuli. I make videos all about houseplant care, sharing tips and tricks I've learnt over the years to help keep your plants happy and healthy. And yeah, so I hope you enjoy it. Let's get into it. So one of the big changes that I have made just kind of straight off the bat is I have brought pretty much all of my plants that aren't cacti and succulents downstairs. I didn't have a ton of plants upstairs to begin with, but I've said it before, I don't know why. If there's an area that I'm not like seeing a lot of in my home, I often just forget about the plants in it. So like actually for me, having things in one space is much easier for my brain to kind of keep on top of. And I am spending most of my time downstairs at the moment. I cannot get comfy in bed because I am getting to the point where I'm getting quite big. So I'm sleeping on the sofa and actually having most of the things that I need to care for in my line of vision is really, really helping me. It's also forced me to make some pretty tough decisions about plants that I want and I don't want. There's some that I've brought downstairs and I'm like, it can't fit anymore. Like for example, I mentioned already my big Monstera deliciosa. Love that plant so much, but I have been pretty brutal about parting with a few things. So yeah, bits of my collection are still feeling quite sparse. There is still so much rehabbing to be done. There just is, but I am starting to feel back on top again. So yes, I'm gonna actually use my phone to film the walkthrough, just because I tried doing it on my camera earlier as like a test, and for some reason the colours and everything just look better on my phone, meaning that you can kind of like see the plants more how I'm seeing them, if that makes sense. So yes, let's do that.
So the main updates and things that I want to take you through are in this space here, but just really quickly, seeing as I'm doing a walkthrough, I'll just give you a few little updates in the living room. To be honest, this is the space that still needs a lot of attention. I have lost a lot of plants in this space and I just haven't got around to doing a lot to a lot of the plants. I did say that my aglaonemas, typically the ones in semi-hydro, have done really well. Again, I've got another one there that is doing really well, and I'm so happy that I just kind of haven't had to worry about those plants. Hoya also somehow, I mean, not doing amazingly, but is still doing okay. I've got drama up there. That aglaonema is one in soil that is not doing well, and yes, I know I need to deal with it. It's just one that I haven't got around to yet. So yes, this is the gist of it. Somehow my Philodendron Dean McDowell, granted it does look pretty raggedy, but somehow it's still going. And I don't quite know how that is, because this is a plant that got somewhat neglected even before I found out I was pregnant. And like, this one must have had a water like once or twice in about 4.5 months, which is crazy. I do need to get it down and probably give it a massive repot and a pest treatment, because I can see there's lots of thrip damage. But I'm just amazed that the plant, as I say, is still doing so well. So yeah, I'll keep you updated on that one. I've got several gaps on the shelves there where I have lost other things, which is sad. I also really sadly lost my Alocasia Platinum, which was in the middle there. I loved that plant so much, and that's one that I actually thought was okay, and I just watered it and I was like, oh, it'll perk up, and it rotted really quickly, and I was just slow to respond. So yeah, there's things that all these plants really need doing to them. In fact, Hoya Australis Lisa here, this one, I know it looks really healthy at first glance and is putting out new growth, which is obviously a great sign, but it is riddled with mealybugs. Like, can you see all those, like there, all those spots of white? Oh God, they are everywhere. And the reason that I haven't isopropyl alcoholed this plant yet is because I was trying the ladybird larvae as like a biological pest control form for mealybugs, and I must say I have not got on well with it. I know some of you guys have raved about it, but I don't know, like predatory insects for other types of pests like thrips and spider mites, I'm absolutely on board with, but I so far just haven't got on very well with the mealybug ones. So yeah, that's on my to-do list. In fact, that plant shouldn't even be there. I should really pull it out and isolate it. But I haven't done that. So yes, also not planty, but we got a little Moses basket on Vinted. We started getting little bits and bobs here and there on Vinted, mainly because obviously it's cheap. But I just think it's adorable. And also it came with this little hood so that the babies won't get blinded from a grow light in their eyes, because obviously there is a grow light there. We've got another one coming as well for the other baby. But yeah, everything else in this space, as I say, nothing huge to update on. A lot of plants have come out of this space as well, just because I'm trying to contain everything, mind the mess, more in one space. But yeah, amazingly, like Bird of Paradise, not doing badly, not doing as well as it could be. And again, I am struggling with mealybugs with that plant. This one here, the Dieffenbachia Tropic Snow, this is the one that I got from Emma's wedding. This one is doing insanely well. And although its growth towards the top is a little bit smaller, which obviously signals that it's not getting quite enough light, it's a plant that has just kicked out new growth kind of regardless of everything. Like I'm blown away that it's doing so well. So yeah, I must not get too complacent with that plant. I have got things I want to do. I want to get it into semi-hydro, but for the time being, isn't it gorgeous? You'll note the cabinet is still empty. I do really want to do the terrarium setup more than ever, actually. I think this would be a great time to do it now that obviously it is so beautiful and sunny and I can get the cabinet outside and do ceiling and stuff like that. But I haven't got around to it yet. So it's still very much on my radar, on my list of things to do, not just because I think it will look so beautiful and it will be a nice decorative thing to have there, but also I'm just all for creating low maintenance spaces at the moment for my plants. And I think it would actually allow me to be able to grow either existing plants that I've got or new plants that I buy in loads of different ways, in like more of a way that is representative of how they grow in their natural habitat. And in theory, then they should all just kind of take care of themselves. I know I've been talking about this for like a year at this point, and I haven't done it, but it is genuinely one of the things that I want to get done this summer. So yes, right, my planty space. I have got a pile of mess here. You'll notice that there's loads of decorative pots and baskets and things, and most of my plants have actually come out of their decorative pots now. which does make me sad because I love all of the lovely pots that I have for them, but it just is, I think, for the time being, going to make my life a little bit easier when it comes to actually caring for them. And you can see, I know I've already shown you a little bit about like the tray systems that I've put in place on my shelves. I've started doing this for like all of these plants. I plan on spacing things out a little bit more and doing it across all of those shelves as well. I haven't finished yet, but basically it just means that like the other day I was like, oh God, those plants are looking a little bit dry. I can just pull it out like a tray and just water. Any excess water is just caught in the drainage tray. And it means that although it's not how like I would like to be doing things, I preferably like take every single individual plant off the shelf and I look at it and I see what needs doing and but that's obviously not, that's not something that I have the time or energy for at the moment. I obviously still have the option to do that if I want to, but if I'm having a day where I'm like, I just need to get the plants watered, I can come in here and do it, or I can get Ross to come in here and do it really easily. And one of you was actually saying, and I very much plan on this, if I do have a day where I'm just like, you know what, I'm knackered, the plants are dying, I could just bottom water them. I could just fill the tray with a little bit of water, let them take what they need. And then, yeah, that's not my preference personally. I know some of you guys do it all the time, but I'm typically more of a top waterer. I just think there's loads of benefits to top watering. Like you push a layer of oxygen down, which helps to keep the roots nice and healthy and yada, yada, yada. But I do know that like from time to time, bottom watering is probably a better and more easy solution. But quickly, before I get on to stuff on the shelves, firstly, my Thai constellation is doing pretty well. This is a plant that I've had a few questions from you guys about, saying, how's the Thai? And amazingly, for a really sensitive, dramatic plant, it's done okay. You can see there is a little bit of browning on some of the white at the top, which I think is probably down to inconsistent watering over the last few months, but also the fact that the humidity in this space has dropped. Like you might notice I don't actually even have my humidifier in this room anymore. I will put it back at some point, but since I've started drainage tray growing and doing more in semi-hydro with like water exposed, the humidity is just naturally higher. Like if we have a look at the reading, it's 69% at the moment, and that is without me doing anything. And I'm really, really happy with that for my plants. So I'm just going to keep it monitored and see how things go. But yeah, I think that's probably one of the main reasons for the browning. I do need to get this plant down and give it a really good look over, but it's obviously not very easy for me to do that at the moment. This is one that I need to get Ross to lift off if I want anything doing to it, along with my Pallidiflorum. That was a heavy plant to begin with. Obviously, it's also in terracotta, but it is one that I'm needing a little bit of help with when I do anything at the moment. So one of the decorative things that I think is worth mentioning, actually, I was going to talk about it with this, and that's probably a better example, but you can see the pots that my Thai constellation's growing in looks really mossy, and that's the stuff that I was telling you guys about that I got on Amazon. It's basically just kind of fake moss sheeting, which I planned to use potentially to decorate a few pots. I didn't know if it was going to look really naff. It's meant for outdoor use, so that means it can get wet and it's not going to rot or anything like that. But yeah, I previously just had that plant, or in fact that plant still is in just a grey nursery pot, and I don't want to be investing in loads of new decorative pots at the moment, obviously, but I also want to try and keep the planty vibe. In fact, I'll show you it down here just because you can kind of see it a little bit better. You can see the texture of it. So yeah, you can kind of manipulate it and do things to it. And I just think that if you're going to go with something decorative, why not? If you're trying to make your space feel kind of greener and plantier, why not go with something like this that kind of, I don't know, I just think it's almost it's not a distraction in any way. It just feels like part of the plants, you know? And I've put my little Hoya YSCA tricolour? Yeah, I think so. I think it's the tricolour coming out of the pot in there, which again, I just think the texture of that is lovely. I've got a bit of Tillandsia air plants kind of spilling out as well. And that's another thing that I have started to introduce. Also, if I sound really out of breath, it's because I just permanently am at the moment. But in my space, I have started to introduce more air plants. And these are ding, 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 new plant number one in the category. I've got air plants kind of everywhere. I've made a little air plant mobile there. I just used some fishing line and one of those twisty stick clips. And I just think they look really lovely. I know I bang on about texture in plants a lot, and I think for me, looking through into my planty space, one of the main things that I always love is seeing different shades of green, different textures, different things kind of working together and overlapping, like again this Tillandsia here. And I guess that kind of just makes it feel jungly to me, and that's the thing that I really don't want to lose. I know my collection is going to have to get a little bit smaller, and it already has got quite a lot smaller. But I think just by integrating things like air plants, as I say, they require such little care. They get most of their nutrients, water from the air itself, if you keep the room in like a good level of humidity, which, as I say, it seems to be at the moment. And they only need watering every few weeks in my experience. If you, like, for example, if you had a room that had like 90% humidity, you'd probably get away with never watering them. Obviously, in their natural habitat, they just, I mean, it's why they're called air plants. They get everything they need from the air. But what I found is that I can just chuck them kind of into my watering bowl for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, just let them have a soak whilst I'm doing that. And then I can tend to everything else. So really, they are incredibly low maintenance, and I'm just quite enjoying them. I'm quite enjoying playing about with different things. I kind of thought I could hang lots of little air plants, or like make strings of air plants and hang them all over the ceiling or something. And that might look quite nice. Yeah, you see Tillandsia everywhere. This is also known as Spanish moss. And I've had this for actually probably a month, and all I've done so far is misted it and not soaked it, and it still looks really good. So yes, you will probably spot a few little air plants and air planty things as I take you round. But yeah, you'll notice I have got a new spider plant. I can't remember if I said this in my last video. So this is like a replica of the spider plant that was there before that very sadly didn't make it. I was filming an episode for ITV Love Your Weekend recently, and I'd said that I wanted to film a piece on the spider plant and kind of talk about how it throws off plantlets, and how, although a lot of people think that that's a sign of the plant being happy, actually it can be a stress response. And then they were like, cool, come in and film that bit. And I was like, oh no, the plant's died. So I had to go out and get another one. But it's a plant that I love, and it is typically so easy. So there it is again. I'm more on top of things now, so I do hope to be able to stay on top of it. But coming back to the shelves, let me pull a couple of things out. So as I say, there's some things that, I mean, a lot of things that still need attention and still are not looking great. I've got this lovely one that I can't actually remember the name of, but Emma got for me in the lovely Grow Tropical swap that we did together, which was just before Christmas, I think, and it's lost a lot of foliage. It is starting to put out some new growth, which I'm happy about, but yeah, that plant looks far worse than it did when I first got it. I do hope that I've got it in a good enough spot now, and levels are going to be good for that plant. But yeah, there's a few that I'm kind of like, oh God, will it be okay? Will it not be okay? Amazingly, I did say this, but both my Warocquianums, see if I can take this one out, are somehow doing really, really well. I've just lifted this one out. Like I see, it's dripping quite a lot, but this is a very thirsty plant in my experience. So again, I do hope the drainage tray kind of method I've got here is going to work quite well for it, because especially seeing as it's quite fast growing and its root system seems to just explode, I find that it can get dry very, very quickly. So yeah, I do hope that will be good for the plant long term. This is a very new thing and I've never done exactly this before, so I'm sure there's going to be some trial and error when we get to it as well. I'll talk you through my alocasia planter, because already there have been some things that I wish I'd known when I was doing that. But then again, at the back, I've got all my biological pest control. I'm sure there's a better way of me doing this. Before, I kind of just lent it up against all the plants, but obviously now I'm working with trays. I'm not quite sure what the best practice is for this. I could hang it off every single individual plant, but again, that's quite time consuming. So I've just got it out of the pack. And for me, that was a pretty big achievement, because I just finding the energy to do basic things like put out my pest control when it arrives have been quite difficult. There were a couple of months where, I know I've said already, I didn't do it at all. Sadly, all of the pest control just sat on the floor in its bag. Everything died. What a waste of money. And then last month when it arrived, I did get around to doing it, but I had to do it over several days. So by the end of the time I'd actually finished doing it, it was probably, I think, about 5 or 6 days later, and I'm sure some of it had died in the pack. So this is an achievement, the fact that I've actually got it out and onto shelves or into plants, even if it's not in the best possible way, you know? So yes, I've got lots of little bits of browning and things going on and things I need to deal with, but typically, like, I look at that tray and I go, everything's okay. Everything is alive, everything's growing, everything's watered, everything's got light. I am thinking that I'd like to get some more grow lights to go on my bottom shelves here. Originally, I was going to keep those as just like lower light shelves, but actually most of my tropical plants, in fact, pretty much all of them, appreciate some extra light. So I actually find that a lot of the time I will put plants on those shelves that I don't love as much, and I'm like, are those just my neglection shelves? Neglection? That's not a word, is it? My shelves of neglect. So yeah, I do think these are the mother grow bars that I've got, which I absolutely love. I think I'm going to get a couple more just for these bottom two shelves so that I can use them a bit more efficiently. And then I've given you a few updates on things on these shelves anyway, but I just want to take you through what's new, because I've got a few new things over here. The first is this little alocasia mellow, which I do need to pot up. It's beautiful, and it's one of the plants that I lost in my first trimester, and a lovely person on my Patreon actually brought me a little alocasia mellow to another plant swap in London, which was 3-4 weeks ago now. One of its leaves is already dying back, and again, I don't know if that's just down to acclimation, but yeah, it does need potting up, so it's on my list. But if I pull this tray, I might need 2 hands to do this, bear with. So yeah, I've just pulled this tray out and off the shelf. A couple of things that I'm excited about. Firstly, my alocasia ninja corms have sprouted, and look at those little leaves. I'm really happy about that. I lost so many of my corms that I propagated in my first trimester again, just because everything dried out. So really happy that these ones are doing so well, and looking forward to getting them planted in there with the rest of my alocasia. But the most exciting, I know I've taken a step away from plants I've just got. We'll come back to that in a second. But the most exciting is that this little one here, which I don't know if you can tell, it has got a little root. That is a propagated or propagating corm of my variegated alocasia Sarian. And that is a plant that I love more than anything in the world. It's this one just here. And I found one corm when I was repotting it, and I was like, oh my God, if I could get this plant growing again, I'd be over the moon. So yeah, I'm really happy it's taken. I did think that maybe it would just rot. But let me take these two out of the bag and show you. So yeah, again, these were another two that I got at another plant swap. And this one, the lovely person again on my Patreon who gave me these, he said that he pollinated these himself. It's a crystallinum cross Big Bill. And if you don't know what those two types of anthurium look like, I will put a picture on the screen so that you can see, because I cannot even imagine what this is going to look like when it's older, like when this plant starts to mature. I'm also pretty sure that he's the first one to have done this. So I think he's going to try and get it named after himself. It's really cool, honestly. I'm so excited. I feel so honoured to have, well, technically 3 of this plant, because he gave me the one that was kind of the mother and then the 2 little babies, because he said they were having twins. So I'm so excited about this. For now, I have just been keeping it in the bag that he gave it to me in, just because, again, humidity is really high. It means that I don't have to do anything to the plant right now. I've taken it out and like checked on the roots a couple of times and made sure it's hydrated, but knowing that it's in a contained space and I don't have to worry and I can just check back and see for like exciting updates is quite nice at the moment. And then the other one I got, again from the same person, is this little one, which doesn't look like much at the moment, but it is a FSRL. I can't remember what that stands for. I mean, Fort Sherman something. I'll put a picture on the screen because, again, it looks absolutely incredible. It's got these black, glossy, like shiny, velvety leaves. And already it has started doing something in the time that I've had it. So I'm hoping for maybe a little leaf soon. So yeah, super, super excited about those. And then this one here, this is also a new plant. I think that's it. After this, they're just all next to each other. But what is this? It's a Rhaphidophora puberula variegata. I saw this one when I went to Wisley with one of my friends recently, and I was like, oh my God, that foliage is amazing. And I looked at it and I was like, however, that looks like a crawling plant to me. And firstly, I just know that I do not want to bring any more crawlers into my collection at the moment. I think they take up so much space. I just don't, for some reason, have the joy growing crawlers in the same way as I do upright plants. So I said to my friend, I was like, I'm going to Google it. I'm pretty sure it's a crawler. And as I say, I Googled it. And in fact, it is a climber. So I was like, oh, well, in that case, I must get it. It was £30, which I don't know enough about that type of plant to actually know whether or not that's a good price. But on the day, it felt like a good price to me. And I think it's just stunning. And already it's starting to give me another new little leaf, because I think this was about 4 or 5 weeks ago. Yeah, isn't that just so pretty? And I do believe that similarly to the Rhaphidophora foraminifera, it gets these amazing kind of inner fenestrations, which I'm so excited about. I might even be daring one day and pot them together. Who knows? But yeah, for now, I'm really excited about it. And I know some of you will probably think it's absolutely crazy that I've bought new plants or like brought in new plants to my collection since losing so many and not even being fully back on top with the ones that I've got. But honestly, here and there, it's part of what keeps the passion alive for me. I love finding new little gems. It's not to say I don't want to focus on the plants that I've got, because I absolutely do. And I think honing my collection has been fantastic recently and really like focusing on like the things that I truly love. But also there is just a little bit of like novelty and going, oh, I'm so excited to go and get that plant. And it's made me feel really happy. So yeah, considering I haven't felt like buying plants or even like looking at plants online for months and months and months, it was quite exciting to go out and buy this one. But yeah. And then again, more trays up here. This one actually is not taking any water from the bottom because as you can see, I've made like an actual reservoir here. This one is just in like, it's no drainage. Oh, I actually don't know if I can, there you go, you can see. I was gonna say, I don't know if I can fully take it out without dropping it one-handed. but that's just in that other pot for a bit of weight so it doesn't topple off. But yeah, I've got semi-hydro aglaonema just growing there. And these ones, sorry, I'm out of breath again because I just stood up. But these ones are all kind of more rehabby. I actually decided to completely chop back my philodendron tortum recently because I took it out of its semi-hydro pot and its roots just looked really iffy. So I have chopped so many of them back and it's now in sphagnum moss. And that was probably 3 weeks ago. Oh, I think it's probably a little bit too soon. I can tell that leaf's actually yellowing there. It's probably a little bit too soon to tell whether or not, I don't know, the plant's going to make it, but I do hope it will. Like, this one is one of my hardier philodendrons, so I really hope it does. But yeah, I'll let you know. It looks a bit raggedy at the moment, but it's kind of unsurprising. And then my Luxurians Magnificum hybrid. Again, I haven't checked on this since I changed the moss, but it hasn't been that long. I really just want some good roots on this plant because this is one of my favourite anthurium hybrids, and it just got really bad root rot before actually I started feeling sick or anything. But I think the issue was just prolonged because I couldn't deal with it in the way that I wanted to. But yeah, that one leaf is kind of hanging on in there. It's been looking like that for months. But I do hope that, yeah, it might bounce back. I mean, I really do have hope for it, actually, because there were some healthy roots when I had a proper look at the root system. But again, just grouping and being able to pull the trays and water into everything without having to take everything off to drain is really nice at the moment. And what I'm finding as well is that I can kind of water without monitoring how much I'm watering. And then if I come back and I see that a non-semi-hydro drainage tray has filled up, then I can just empty the excess out of the drainage tray. So it does make life simpler. This Clarinervium, again, doesn't deserve to be looking as lovely as it is. That little one there as well. Is that a mealy? No, I thought that was a mealybug. That little Clarinervium is from the batch that I pollinated. If you've been on my channel a while, you might remember when I first, before I moved into my flat, when I was living at my mum's house during lockdown, I pollinated my Anthurium Clarinervium and it took forever to pollinate. Honestly, I think from pollination to harvest, it was probably a year and a half. But I got loads of berries, and that is one of the little babies I kept back for myself. And I think if I had shown it a little bit more love and attention, it would probably be much bigger by now, but it's still very small. So yeah, but it's still quite nice to have a little bit of that. But yeah, then, okay, my Pallidiflorum. So as you know, this is one of my favourite plants, if not my favourite plant, and this one is not looking great at the moment. I'm not overly concerned about it in the same way as I am some of my other plants, but it's just been neglected. It's really been neglected. As I say, it's one that I can't lift off myself anymore, so I do need to get Ross to help me with it. It often means that I'll think to myself, oh, I'll ask him to do it tomorrow, and then I forget, and then it gets left for too long. And although it has got some leaves that are looking pretty good and pretty hydrated, a lot of its leaves are still very curled in on themselves, and I think this is just because, as I say, the plant has gone for so long without water and now it's just kind of starting to adjust. Also, the fact that it's in terracotta, I've never had an issue growing it in terracotta. However, terracotta is obviously very porous and it does draw the moisture away from the roots to a certain extent, meaning that if you're very prone to overwatering, it's kind of a little bit of a safety net. It will make sure, well, it won't make sure, but it will help you not to overwater because it will remove some of the moisture for you. But if you have a period like me where you don't do anything to your plants for months on end, it's kind of a bit of a curse because it's also helping to draw any remaining moisture out at double the rate. So yeah, I do have faith that my Pallidiflorum is going to bounce back. As always, it weirdly on camera looks a little bit better than it does in real life. It does look quite wrinkly at the moment, but yeah, I have thought about getting it out of terracotta actually. I think obviously not this, like it needs something really quite heavy to be able to like take the weight of the plant, because the plant itself is so heavy now. But I do think actually something that I can monitor the roots a little bit better with and isn't as porous would be good long term. So that'll be an interesting repot, because it is a very difficult plant to work with. Even when we lift it down, I'm like, don't snap the leaves, like they bend on themselves, and particularly when they're not that hydrated and they're a little bit kind of like crispier than I'd like them to be. It's just, it feels like a recipe for disaster. So yes, but I'm still excited about this plant. I still plan on continuing to pollinate this plant once it's back on track and doing all the things I was doing before. I know I was saying about like potentially like downsizing some plants and getting rid of some really big plants like my big Monstera deliciosa. Like a few, like my Pallidiflorum, for example, I'm like, I love this plant so deeply. I know it takes up a lot of space, and I know it means that I probably can't grow like 5 plants there instead of just 1, but it is just one thing to look after as opposed to 5, and it brings me so much joy. So it's not one that I would even consider parting with at this stage. Other things up there have also got a little bit neglected. These ones are just growing in water, so they're fine. This one has perked up today. This is my Philodendron Campii Lynette. And this one I did actually take quite a few yellowing leaves off yesterday because poor thing, it was just so wilted. You can see bits here that are still not looking great. But again, that's just because like lifting things off, I just haven't been doing enough of it. Or I haven't been able to do enough of it, if that makes sense. So yes, amazingly, my Rhaphidophora tetrasperma that is in still that teeny tiny pot, I must repot that plant, but it's in semi-hydro, and this one is still doing really well. And that's one that has had a dry reservoir more times than I can even count. And although it has like lost a couple of leaves here and there, it's doing okay. The thing that I was the most annoyed about with this plant is before it did go all the way like up and round the ceiling up there. You can still see like the little, the camera focus, like the twisty stick clips. And I decided for ease of access, I was going to move everything down. I was going to move it to kind of the same line as this rail. And as I was doing it, I was just being a bit too rough with the plant. And I managed to snap it, and I'm so sad about it. I did try taping it back together originally. I made it like a splint because it hadn't fully broken, and I was like, please repair yourself. However, sadly, it did not, and all of the section of growth that went to about there just died. And I've taken a few cuttings. I've got some cuttings of it here that I'm sure will root, and I can probably get back, but it was just a little heartbreaking because I love that plant and I love the wild way it's growing. I really want to actually encourage more plants to kind of climb the walls and do jungly things like that in here, because that's, again, part of the thing that makes this space, to me, feel really green and jungly. And again, that is just one plant to care for, even though it gives the impression of being like loads. So yeah, I know also I'm kind of rambling through all of these ideas and things that I'm doing today, but I will make a more kind of concise video on all of this at some point. But yeah, then I've got various things like this plant, and then these plants are things that I am yet to deal with. This is my beautiful luxurians. It's doing really well, actually, amazingly. It's just in a jar, and I'd like to move it to a method more like this, and just like an open pot, so I can get it in the drainage tray and kind of, again, like integrate it into my tray system. It's also just due for a repot because it's been in that little jar for years. So on the list, my Alocasia Dragon's Breath, my Heterophylla, this one, I don't really know what to do with it. Like, again, I know it needs a repot and I know I need to set it up better, but it's only ever got like 1 or 2 leaves and I don't know what I'm doing wrong. So yeah, must reset that plant and see what I can do. But yeah, otherwise just a few little things in trays here. This one, I can never remember the name. I think it's a Mudeanum hybrid of some sort. This one I did see juvenile thrips on the other day, on this new leaf in fact, which might have started. Oh yeah, can you see just there? Oh. And yeah, I know, again, some of you would probably say, isolate, Claire, why aren't you isolating? I've just put in some biological pest control and I wouldn't put any of my plants in the safe zone pest-wise at the moment, just because I've been so bad with dealing with pests. So I've just put so many sachets into my collection and I do hope that in the next week or two, it will kind of sort itself out. And that is the hope. And then, yeah, I've got various things. You'll notice there's loads of my Hoyas on the bottom shelves here. Firstly, because they are ones that can cope a little bit better with slightly lower levels of light, but also, you know, what I said earlier about like sometimes I find I put plants that I neglect on those bottom shelves. I think a lot of my Hoyas just need so much stuff doing to them, primarily trellising. And I just haven't quite figured out what I want to do about it yet. I sound like a broken record. I know, I have been saying that for so long. I just don't like the look of conventional trellising for Hoyas, and I haven't got as creative as I would like to with other options yet. So yes, to be revisited. Also, I've got my Latifolia Sarawak down there that is not on any shelf and is not happy. It's got mealybugs, that's why it's not on any shelf. There's a few things in this pile here that just need to be sorted through and I haven't got around to yet. I also think I'm going to put a load of my pots and things up into the attic. We've recently had our attic boarded to create a bit of storage space. So yeah, I'm going to clear them all away until the time comes that I can beautify my plant collection again and not just have it kind of as like a practical thing. But so far, nothing on my Anthurium Crystal Hope. This is one that, oh my God, was so easy and so beautiful before I got pregnant. And yeah, has just really, really suffered. And I've just changed it into this way of growing. Oh, please keep your fingers crossed for this plant because I really love it. And I'd so love it to bounce back. A couple of new little things here. Just got a couple of little pings there, still in the little boxes that I got them in. Can you even see them? Not really. There's not a huge amount to see, to be honest, at the moment. I need to pot them up, but I just haven't got around to it. Again, I got them at the plant swap along with the lovely little pot for them. So I do need to do that. And then I did decide to chop back my Vitarifolium. I know I was saying, do I, don't I again? And I did leave loads of leaves for I think about 2 weeks, and then they just started looking really raggedy. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to lop them back. And since doing that, oh, I see what's happened. Oh, damn it. I was going to say it starts pushing out a new leaf, but you can see that new leaf has got stuck. Oh, what a shame. And it snapped. Oh, so I'll have half a leaf there. But at least the plant is kind of doing something. It is actively putting out some growth, which suggests it will bounce back. Also, quite positive on my little bits of Drymonia cherry begana. They're looking quite perky. This is the plant that I was like, I so don't want to have lost it. And yeah, I do hope. Again, is that a mealybug? No, I think it's just perlite. Yeah, again, I do hope that that one will bounce back because that was one of my favourite plants. Water props again, such as this Dischidia. It's very pretty, but do I need it? Probably not. Probably not. I will continue to get rid of the things that I don't need. So far, I've mainly done Facebook Marketplace. It's been absolutely great. It's where I've got a lot of my own plants from over the years. And often I can just say to someone, it's at the end of my driveway, come and pick it up. Or if I sell something, it's X amount of money, come and get it from me. And I don't have to leave the house, which is awesome. I know some of you guys have been like, oh, I'd pay for this if you sent it to me and stuff. And for some things I would consider it, but it's just, again, I think I'm just lazy and I have no energy at the moment. It's the effort of like going to the post office and packaging something up, and I just don't have the time to do that, mentally or physically at the moment. So yeah, but that's that section. And again, you will see my tray method is implemented. I say this like it's a revolutionary method. Of course it's not. It's literally using drainage trays. But again, I've done like grouped semi-hydro things together with a reservoir at the bottom, soil ones just using as drainage trays. And I thought I would hate the look of this. Again, I think because I've had so many of my pretty pots and stuff. But actually, you know what, when I stand back, the trays are not the first thing I notice. I think because I've gone with transparent trays as well, I really don't notice them that much. I think I'll notice them when they start getting dirty. But again, that's more of a aesthetic thing as opposed to anything else. Quickly before we move on to these ones as well, my Rhaphidophora foraminifera, this one has obviously grown off its moss pole. I could extend the moss pole, but I kind of want to encourage this plant. It's got crazy aerial roots. I kind of somehow want to encourage this plant to start climbing the walls. And I know some of you have said before, you know, it'll wreck the walls and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, I'm aware that it will, but for the foreseeable future, in the time that I live here, this is going to be my planty space. I imagine that I will be here for many years. So I'm like, I would probably redecorate anyway before we left. So I just need to find a section of wall that I'm happy for it to kind of be on more permanently and let it kind of happen. Either that or maybe get a piece of cork bark and attach that to the wall and let it climb that. But yeah, the faff of a moss pole long term, keeping it hydrated is just something that, like, again, I'm trying to cut down my time and energy and all that sort of stuff. I would just also like to be able to not use a moss pole for that plant. And I do think that it could be grown successfully without. So yeah, I'm thinking on that. Obviously I need to make a decision pretty quickly because it is coming off the pole, but I'll let you know. I'll let you know what I decide. And then most things on the windowsill are doing okay, actually, are doing all right. My Cebu Blue, I lost quite a lot of leaves and I had to chop the whole thing back quite a bit. Don't know how well you can actually see it because the sun is now shining through the window and it looks lovely. But yeah, it's got a few like bare stretches of growth and whatnot, but on the whole, pretty good. Also, my Anthurium bulletus, this one that I have had for years and years and years, and I've tried to get to achieve this beautiful kind of like loby mature form for so long, and I have struggled with for so long, somehow is doing really well. It's got 3 leaves at the moment, which it's never had 3 healthy leaves before. This one here, oh my God, Claire, no. I've just fecking well snapped the main vein, no. Okay, I'm going to just hope that fixes itself. Oh my God, that's so annoying. Oh, I mean, that wasn't like a complete break, so maybe it'll be okay. Oh, but yeah, it's doing well apart from that. So fingers crossed that hasn't just set the plant back. But yeah, I mean, my Aglaonema Pictum tricolour as well. This one, I cannot believe it. If you're on my Patreon and you saw the video when me and Emma went to the garden centre recently, you'll have seen they were selling plants that looked like my one here for about £12. And I got this, I think, probably 2 years ago. Was it last summer or the summer before? Maybe I think it was the summer. In fact, it was definitely the summer before. So 2 years ago when it was so small. I think it had maybe 3 leaves or something, and since then it's put out different sections of growth and but I got it when it was tiny for about 60 quid, and the fact that they're now selling them this big for £12, I was like, I cannot believe it. It's so funny how the pricing shifts with plants. But yeah, again, I've got it in semi-hydro, and this is one that I'm actually not growing in semi-hydro, so I've just raised it up with a little drainage tray, and then I've created a reservoir there. I've obviously got quite a lot of space in these trays as well, so I'm still playing about with things that I might want to add in. I've got plants, or piles of plants in places throughout the house that still need things doing to them and decisions made and all that jazz. So yeah, there's space for things. But also, if I do just have some spaces here and there for the time being, I'm really going to try my best to resist temptation and not just fill them because I want to fill them. I really want to just, create a collection of things that I truly love and nothing more. That's it. So yeah, that's where I'm kind of at with it all right now. Again, though, my Warocqueanum, my big Warocqueanum, somehow, miraculously, this one's doing well. This one, I'm growing it, I've said it before, but in a pond pot, which is fantastic for aeration, root aeration, but it also means I can keep this plant quite damp and not worry as much about things like root rot because it has just got such great airflow. So again, in the time that I was feeling so unwell, I was just saying to Ross, whenever you think of it, just water. And no more leaves, which isn't surprising. But yeah, like it obviously hasn't had like fertiliser or anything like that, but it has got a little inflorescence, which could be a stress inflorescence. I don't know. But I am gonna collect the pollen and see if I can do any fun hybridization maybe this summer. And then I've just got a section of my Mitchellitziana, which I don't know if this is going to root. Originally there were about 3 leaves and I was just propping it in water. I've just changed that to sphagnum moss because it didn't seem too happy. I just decided to give this plant a bit of a chop back because it's getting quite leggy, and I don't know, it was kind of a spur of the moment thing about a month ago, and do I regret it? Maybe a little bit because it's now only got 2 leaves, but yeah, I just thought it'd be interesting to try propping it like this because I've never done it before, and I've seen lots of other people that have, but maybe there's a reason it's not done more, who knows. But then down the bottom here, this one is one that I have spent time feeling very sad about, but actually I'm feeling more hopeful about now. This is my Magnificum Regal hybrid, like potentially my favourite anthurium, I would say, and one that I really felt like I turned the corner with last year, having had like issue after issue after issue with this plant with. I struck the right balance with nutrients and all of a sudden it was looking gorgeous. It's obviously got a lot of browning and spotting and not good things happening at the moment. However, now that I'm a little bit more back on track and on top, I'm hoping that it will start giving me some new growth. And at that point there, the kind of bright green bit, that does look like the start of a new growth point. It has been looking like that for weeks. So I don't know if maybe that's, I might get a very warped kind of stunted leaf. Who knows? But I do hope it continues to do well for me. I also think that I'll probably change the way I'm growing this one, because this one currently, I'm growing it in sphagnum moss, and again, I'm growing it in terracotta, which probably, like I said about the pallidiflorum, sounds kind of counterintuitive, seeing as it's an anthurium that loves airflow, and it's also an anthurium that likes a lot of moisture. But again, just for the weight of the pot, I find that it just helps because it is when it has more leaves than this, it kept pulling over any other plant pots, so it was just toppling constantly. And this feels like a good way of doing it in that respect. So I don't know, maybe I'll mix things up. But for now, yeah, I'm just kind of a little bit back to square one with it, but I feel like I know it a little bit better than I did before. So yes. And then, oh, my Magnificum. So sadly, its main leaf has got a bit of browning, and I mean, it isn't looking nearly as bad as it could be, but has had a bit of damage just from neglect. Look at the size of it though, it's absolutely huge. And it is starting to give me a new leaf as well, which I'm really happy about. I had to kind of guide this little leaf out of the petiole yesterday because I was noticing that the same thing that I just showed you that happened to the Vitara folium was starting to happen. And I was like, no, it's going to snap. That was very risky. I was like, I don't want to break it because I think, oh, damn it, I can actually see, look at that rip in the leaf just there. I know it's only tiny, but that will turn into a big rip as the leaf sizes up. How annoying. But yeah, I hope that that leaf will maybe be the same size, if not bigger than that one. And then I should probably think about a bigger pot for that anthurium at some point as well. So yeah, there is also this part of me that's going, should I do a massive anthurium planter, like maybe all along that back wall, do just like, I don't know, kind of like an extended bed and grow them all in one container. I don't know. Oh, for now, I do like the system that I've got here, and it does seem to work for the time being. But obviously, as my plants grow and get bigger, I'm going to have to just adapt what I do a little bit more. Catch my breath again. My variegated Florida, my Musa Florida, sorry. This one I gave you an update on in my positive updates video the other day because it's just doing amazingly. Like, look at the size of those leaves. It's so hard to believe that this was the little kind of weedy plants that I got that struggled so much and is now just doing so wonderfully. It's also got this leaf that I think will probably unfurl in the next couple of days. If going by the standard of all the other leaves so far, it sizes up in the same way, then it's gonna be pretty huge, which I'm so excited about. And yeah, this one I just plan to, I guess, just kind of let grow and grow and grow. I mean, I have absolutely zero plans to chop it. I actually almost feel like if I was going to chop this plant, I might just give it to someone else who wanted a very big plant, because I think it'd be such a shame to chop it. Obviously, it's got about that far to go in this room, so I want to say another year or so. Who knows, though? It is growing very quickly. But then the Alocasia planter. On the whole, I'm really happy with it. I know I did this as one of my first videos back when I started making content again. And this is a full planter of semi-hydro. A lot of you were saying that I should have put something different on the bottom, primarily just to save money. A couple of you have said that apparently IKEA are doing really cheap semi-hydro, like really cheap, like a leca substitute at the moment that is really good. So if you want something super cheap and cheerful, then head over to IKEA. I actually haven't tried it myself yet, but I'm definitely going to try it, because actually I think I spent about £70 on semi-hydro to make this. And it is working well on the whole. Like, I've got the little tap outlet, which, oh, is not going to be the easiest. Oh, I was going to say to show you, I've also got it on a dolly on wheels, similarly to my bird of paradise there, so I can just push them to the side and pull them out, and everything's easier. And then if I lift up the fabric there, you can see the little tap. So yeah, when I want to empty out any excess water, I can just release it in that valve. And so far I haven't really had to release that much excess. Every time I've gone to check the tap, it's been dry. So it is quite a thirsty planter, and I think I wish I had checked that a little bit more at the beginning. I planted lots of things at different depths. So for example, this one I planted quite high up. My sinuatus I planted quite high up, whereas things like my Longuloba silver I planted quite low down. So obviously the ones that I planted lower are getting more moisture than the ones at the top. So I have lost a couple of sections of sinuata. I had a couple more planted over there, and they sadly haven't made it. So next time I plant anything into this planter, I think I just need to start off by planting it further down than I might have initially thought to begin with. Everything else now seems to be putting down lots of long roots, and it is getting all the water it needs. But yeah, that was something that I should have, I don't know why I didn't consider it more, to be honest, at the start, but for whatever reason I didn't. And this one here, oh my God, firstly, I know I've already spoken about my Alocasia Sarian, but look at that leaf. Isn't it just beautiful? I can't wait for this one to just get bigger and bigger and bigger and size up. I think it is so stunning. That balance of variegation it's got as well is just so pretty. But yeah, my variegated Alocasia Adora, again, I got this from another one of you on my Patreon. This one is doing so well. And actually, if I step outside and look in, because obviously it's kind of turned to face the light, but just look at that. All of them are just growing towards the light. So I guess I could rotate at some point if I wanted everything to be a bit more inward facing. But I've put a grow light just above here. This is, I think this is, it's either Sansi or Grow Gang, I think. I'll link it down below because it's a really nice grow light. That's obviously just kind of targeting all of this area, which at this time of year, I probably don't need quite so much, but I don't know, I really want these ones to size up and do well. So a little bit of extra light never hurt. And then, yeah, I've moved things like my Philodendron Spiritus Sancti just a little bit easier to access down here. Again, it's got one of these like plastic hanging pot things, meaning that I can just like literally lift it up really easily and put it back on. Because again, that's another thing I do not want to be doing. I don't want to have to get any ladders out. I don't want to have to get any chairs out. I want to be able to literally just take things and lift them off. And even my Lepismium bolivianum here, this one I can just, it's a bit of a stretch, but I can just like, oh, lift it down like so. And again, you might be looking at my Lepismium bolivianum and going, I thought you didn't have that plant anymore. And you're right, it is a plant that I used to have and then very sadly lost to thrips. And I have always loved this plant. I've always missed owning this plant. And when I was at the garden centre getting the spider plant for the section that I was filming, I saw this and it was on sale and I thought, oh, go on then, I'll take you home with me. So I did. So those are all of the plant purchases I have made this year, which under normal circumstances is extremely conservative and I'd be very proud of myself. But yeah, it's also a super low maintenance one, so I'm not worried. But you might be able to see I've got bits of black mold building up on the corner of my windows. So I do need to sort that out because obviously it's not good to be breathing in. That's literally just, again, because I haven't had I actually never open these windows just because it's a faff to get up there. But I haven't had the door open as much. I haven't had the windows open as much. And I just haven't been in here to keep an eye on it as much. So yeah, that's something I need to do. Amazingly, these begonias are doing pretty okay. They're all in semi-hydro, apart from my Corallina here, which is actually much perkier today. This was huge up until yesterday when I made the decision to chop the entire plant up. I've got I didn't like propagate every single section of it, but I have propagated enough to make another really full plant should I want to, and I think I do. But then I will also be growing it in semi-hydro. This is my new gardening kneeling pad. How fancy is that? But yeah, I'm really happy with how all of these are doing. And then behind me, just here, got a little Alocasia corner. These, as I say, these things here are things that I'm either still deciding on, need rehab, need things doing to them. Oh, and they're just kind of there for another day. This one actually, I think I might, this is my not Scindapsus, Syngonium chiapense. I think I might try and get this one growing up the walls. Haven't decided. But yeah, little alocasia corner down here is doing pretty okay. You'll notice my Portadora, my like OG alocasia, the one that I've had for so many years now. Again, like this is truly like an unkillable alocasia. Originally, obviously, there were 3 of these big sections. Well, I mean, they were small when I got them, but they grew to be huge. Then the plant got chopped back. It got left on my balcony at the flat all winter, froze solid. I really didn't think this plant would ever bounce back. And since then, I've killed it off so many times and it still bounced back. Like this again was just a stump in a pot until a couple of weeks ago when I started throwing water on everything again. And miraculously, it is already growing again. It is, of course, growing again with pests because that is just the nature of this plant. But yeah, I'm just amazed at the hardiness of this one. And also, I was at a local garden centre. In fact, this was when I was at Wisley. And I guess this kind of counts as a plant purchase, doesn't it? But I was at Wisley recently and I saw this ginormous tuber. And this is for a colocasia cocoa. And I was just like, look how pretty that is. It looks really similar to the Alocasia portadora. Haven't yet decided if I'm going to try growing this indoors or outdoors. Obviously, I could grow it outdoors and then probably just bring it into store every year, or I could probably grow it year round indoors. So it's a big one. I don't know what the plan is, but there's obviously no rush to jump in and plant this. So yeah, I'm just leaving it there to remind myself to do something with it at some point. My poor variegated Frydek, it looks very sad, but it's still going. I was kind of tempted to get that into the alocasia planter actually, but I haven't. So we'll see. But for now, it's alive. And of course, my Regal Shield is doing beautiful things. This is a hardy alocasia that just honestly just copes with pretty much everything. So I feel very grateful for that one. And yeah, so that's kind of the gist of where everything in this space is up to at the moment. I've got loads of ideas of things that I still want to do in this space to kind of make life easier, make things more practical, but also make it feel really jungly and really planty. So I will come back to you on all of those things. And as I say, I will make a video where I kind of take you through everything specifically so that you can kind of get a sense of everything I'm doing. But yeah, it does feel like I'm making progress again in this space for the first time in so long. Oh my God, I'm now very, very out of breath and I'm gonna go and have a little sit down. But it's been really nice just chatting through everything with you guys. I have done most of this off camera just because I've needed to get my head down and like I said, haven't had the energy all the time to be chatting through everything. So it's quite exciting to start sharing little things with you again. So yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, please make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, have a lovely day, and I will see you in the next video.
Stay sexy, plant lovers.